Most of these apps allow community members to report sightings of immigration and customs enforcement agents, checkpoints, or raids. And once a report is submitted, the app uses geolocation tools to pinpoint the area and broadcast alerts to nearby users. This way, individuals who may be at risk of detention or who want to avoid encounters with ICE receive immediate warnings. Some of these apps are designed to function similarly to traffic or police alert services, where users flag law enforcement presence on a map. Others incorporate features like push notifications, allowing communities to share rapid updates. In certain cases, apps partner with advocacy groups or local organizations that verify reports before they are widely shared, attempting to reduce misinformation. Many platforms also include educational resources, such as information on legal rights, emergency hotlines, and instructions on what to do if stopped by immigration officers. Privacy and security are central to how these apps function. Many rely on encryption to protect the identities of those submitting reports, since users often fear retaliation. Some avoid collecting personal data altogether, ensuring that reports remain anonymous. Others encourage the use of private group networks where trusted members can share information without making it broadly public. By combining anonymity with speed, the apps aim to build trust within immigrant communities while minimizing the risks of exposure. Because ICE operations are often unpredictable and vary by region, the reliability of these apps depends heavily on community participation. The more individuals report sightings, the stronger and more responsive the system becomes. However, this crowdsourcing approach also means that accuracy can be uneven, as false reports or unverified claims occasionally circulate. To counter this, some apps use moderators or community review systems to confirm information before sending alerts. In essence, ICE tracking apps function as digital warning networks. They transform scattered, on-the-ground observations into real-time community intelligence, enabling those at risk to adapt their movements, prepare for possible encounters, or avoid targeted areas altogether. Supporters argue that this empowers vulnerable populations to exercise their rights and protect their families, while critics argue that the same technology undermines lawful enforcement and officer safety. The result is a deeply polarizing tool that sits at the intersection of technology, civil rights, and immigration enforcement. The apps were set up as a response to growing fears within immigrant communities about sudden raids, detentions, and deportations carried out by immigration and customs enforcement. For years, immigrants and advocacy groups have described a climate of uncertainty, where families live with the constant risk of being separated without warning. Activists saw technology as a way to counter this fear by giving people tools to anticipate enforcement activity, avoid unnecessary encounters, and prepare if an arrest seemed imminent. By building systems that relied on community reporting and real-time alerts, developers hoped to create a layer of protection that traditional legal aid or advocacy could not provide in the moment. Another reason for their creation was to strengthen solidarity among immigrant communities and their allies. The apps allow neighbors, activists, and local organizations to share information quickly, transforming individual observations into collective knowledge. For many immigrant rights advocates, the apps became not just warning systems, but also symbols of resistance, asserting that communities could look out for each other even in the face of aggressive enforcement policies. The idea was that by spreading information widely and quickly, ICE operations would lose the element of surprise that often made them so devastating. By publicizing their movements, these platforms could make ICE personnel more vulnerable to confrontation, surveillance, or even targeted harassment. The government has long emphasized the need to protect law enforcement agents from threats, and officials argue that apps broadcasting their locations undermine that protection by stripping away the element of operational secrecy. Critics within government circles also claim that the apps blur the line between free speech and obstruction of justice. While advocates argue the platforms simply share information, federal officials contend that the practical effect is to assist individuals in avoiding the law, which could be framed as aiding unlawful presence. This fuels the argument that the apps are not just community resources, but deliberate attempts to obstruct federal enforcement duties. Beyond operational and safety issues, the government frames its criticism in political terms. Officials often suggest that the existence of these apps encourages a culture of resistance against immigration enforcement, making it harder to maintain respect for federal authority. By turning raids into publicized events and mobilizing rapid community responses, the apps highlight enforcement actions in ways that draw public backlash and erode the perception of ICE legitimacy.